Welcome back to my series of updates for my Star Wars Unlimited Original Trilogy 180 card cube. This is the update for Set 5 Legends of the Force, which introduces the new Force mechanic. Mainly because of the Lake Country format that I shared recently, I decided not to add too many of those cards, though I did add a bit of support for the Force trait in general. One structural change I made for this update was to reduce the number of units and increase the number of events and upgrades. I also removed most of the solo movie support. Also, a quick announcement. I've uploaded my cube to SudoDB, so now you can follow all the changes there. The link to the deck will be in the description below. So moving on to the guidelines, most of the guidelines are the same. I already said that I removed most of the solo movie support, so now the theme is just Rebels to Return of the Jedi. We also now have the inclusion of the 28 HP Force common bases, the ones that when a Force unit attacks, the Force is with you. So when building a deck, players can now choose any of the 30 HP or 20 HP common force bases. There are only 4 cards in the cube that use this new force mechanic, so I don't imagine the 28 HP force bases are going to be used much, but it's there as an option. So villainy leaders, Gar Saxon is replacing Kira. We have the new Reva leader, which replaces Maul for Inquisitor support. The also yellow Grand Inquisitor replaces Real Durant. He is the first of the 4 Force cards that I added. His leader side requires you to use the Force, but his unit side is Force and Inquisitor traits, which are now relevant traits to the cube. For heroism, I decided to take out Daimyo Boba, who was always a filler slot anyways, so I put in Kanan, even if it makes a small imbalance in the colors. His creature support usually won't come into play since there are only a handful of creatures, but his Force and Spectre traits will. Moving on to the main deck cards for blue-black, we have the new Vader, of course. Not much more to say about that. For green-black, we have Eighth Brother. This is the second of the cards that use the Force. Ignoring his Force ability, he's a 5/7 with Ambush, which is the same stats as the Spark of Rebellion Vader unit. And he costs 1 less than that. So it's pretty good. He also has the Force and Inquisitor traits, which are relevant. I also took out Gladiator Star Destroyer for Relentless, since there are more events now in the cube. In red and black, we have 2 new Inquisitors, the Grand Inquisitor and his ship, Scythe, which both care about Inquisitor units. So that's the Inquisitor support. In yellow-black, we have Second Sister. Her ability is in gray and will probably not really be used much, but her traits are Force and Inquisitor, which are again relevant, and she's in the same aspect as the new Grand Inquisitor leader. I also put in Xanadu Blood. Moving on to heroism. For blue-white, we have the new Ezra. His traits are Spectre and Force, so he goes well with the new Kanan leader. And then a few no changes here. So green and white, no changes. Red and white, no changes. Yellow, white, no changes. For mono black, I took out Quasar TIE Carrier only because Villainy had a little bit more space units than Heroism, so I swapped it out with Sandtrooper Cavalry. For mono white, we have the new Luke Skywalker. He is the third of the cards that use the Force, and he's probably the one that I struggled with the most. But ultimately, I decided that he's Luke, and he has to be in here. Even though he's going to be a vanilla 3/5 for 4 most of the time, but he does have the Force trait. Moving on to mono blue, Owen Lars, Chirrut, and Luthen. So Chirrut is the final of the cards that use the Force, and if you ignore his Force ability, he's a 3/5 Sentinel for 4, which is decent. Luthen was one of the reasons I decided to include more item upgrades in the cube, and more upgrades in general, and then also adding on to that more events. So for upgrades, we have Entrenched and Resilient. For events, added It Binds All Things, mostly because it's one of my favorite cards, but also for Force support. Oh, and Lars is also in there for force support. So in mono green, we have the Purgil King for units, Pilio Star Compass, which is an item. And then for events, we have Strike True, Tandem Assault, and Price on Your Head as another upgrade. New in mono red, we have Angry Bendu and Blockade Runner. For events, I added System Shock, Detention, Block Rescue, and Bombing Run, and for upgrades, I added Infiltrator Skill. In mono yellow, we have events like Asteroid Sanctuary, Sneak Attack, Relentless Pursuit, and then for upgrades, we have Smuggling Compartment and Jetpack. And lastly, for neutral cards, we have Constructed Lightsaber, which replaces Lady Proxima. And that's pretty much it. That's all the updates we have for the Legends of the Force. Not that much updates, really. Um, so let me know if you end up trying any of these changes in your cube and what other changes you would make. All right, see you next time.